Hi there, this is Chris from MoneyHub, and this video looks at the American Express Gold Rewards card. So this is a relatively new credit card in the market. Many people are used to credit cards which earn perhaps AirPoints dollars or cashback or just a low interest. This is very much a rewards-based program card, and it's quite unusual in the fact that you earn something called American Express Rewards Points. That's an Amex-specific program. But at the same time, you'll also get dining credits for certain restaurants, and you'll also get a sign-up bonus, plus there's also travel insurance benefits. So there's quite a lot of things going on here. The purpose of this video is just to take you through our review, which I've linked to down below in the description. And certainly if you do have any questions about this credit card, please let us know in the comments, or you can write to us through the website. We want our resources to be as comprehensive as possible. So it's really helpful when we hear from people, because we can always update them based on anything that's new to market, or that, some questions that people have. So without further ado, I'll get straight into it. This product was released in 2022, and it's been in the market for a few months now. If you're watching this video later, then it's a long-standing product from 2022. The point of it really was to differentiate, I think, like the American Express brand, beyond AirPoints dollars, and basically make it more sort of accessible for younger people. Not everyone wanted to earn AirPoints dollars, and basically the point of this credit card is to offer a whole bunch of things which have previously not really been offered before for a credit card. The gold card is actually offered worldwide. It's a similar type of thing. They offer them in the US, similar type of benefits with dining credits and reward points and travel insurance. So this is the New Zealand version of that card. So what I'm going to do is talk about the annual fee. I'm going to talk about the benefits. I'm going to talk about the pros and cons, and I'm going to talk about how the rewards card works in New Zealand. That's really just around acceptance, and then I'll just run through a summary. Now, of course, our guides are always up to date. This video, is published in April 2023, but usually the benefits and the entitlements from credit cards don't change too often. But if they do, of course, we'll be updating the guide. And if they change so significantly, then we'll be changing or disabling this video. So if you are listening to it, then it's actually very much current. So I'll just continue with that disclaimer. Now, what is worth knowing is that you have to be aged 18 or over to qualify for the card, and you can't have a history of bad debts or anything like that, because Amex is very, very cautious about giving credit cards to people, and they want people who pay their credit card off every month and are very focused on making sure that their account's always up to date. You'll need to have the right to work in New Zealand as well. And if you are self-employed, then you'll have to show some further paperwork that will depend on the application, also the applicants. Now, what I will do is just talk about the annual fee. So that's $200, and that's billed once per year. So you'll get that on your statement after the first month. And then the interest rate, that is 19.95%. That is lower than a lot of other reward cards, and we can't really comment on that as to why it is. But we have noticed that some other credit cards offering around charging around 23.95%. So this is lower than that. Of course, the best way to use a credit card is never to pay interest, but it's just worth noting what the interest rate actually is. Second to that, currently you'll get a $200 statement credit if you spend $1,500 in the first 3 months. So how that works is basically if you get the card and then over those 3 months you spend in total on the card $1,500, then after that 3 months, then Amex will apply $200, which will come up as your statement as like a negative number, and then it'll bring down the balance that you owe on it. Now, how the point system works is that the gold card earns a rate of 2 points for every $1 spent. These membership reward points can be used for all sorts of things. They can be used for statement credit. They can be used for cashback. They can be used for fees. They can be used for converting into Qantas points. They can be used for travel vouchers with Amex, all sorts of things. You can use them as for retail. We've got a separate video to the Amex membership rewards program, which I've linked to down below, and that'll take you through the options there. But the rate of earning is $1 spent is going to equal 2 points, and there's no sign up points bonus. So that's worth noting. They're really just focused on giving people statement credits. Now, redeeming, so as I just said, with the membership reward points, just to kind of know as a background, 50,000 points, so a $25,000 spend would get you around 333 air points, and it would also equate to 25,000 Qantas frequent flyer points if that's a currency that's familiar to you. You can also redeem them for, as I said, travel credit. In this case, the 50,000 points would be $375 worth of Amex travel credit, which basically runs like a travel agency. You can also use the 50,000 points or 52,000 points for $250 worth of credit on your card. So what you use and what you actually redeem is going to be really what you want to do. And, there's no suggested sort of means or things to, redeem them for. But we would strongly suggest having a look at our video that explains the membership rewards program, so you can make an informed choice should you later on get a card and then build up some points. Now, let's go into the benefits. I think that's really important. So the welcome bonus, as I said, it's a statement credit. That's a one-off. So if you renew the card, then that's not going to apply. Secondly, the dining credits. So these are really important because what happens is that every 6 months you get this one dining credit for $100, and basically you've got to use it at a qualifying restaurant. You can find those on the Amex website, and more or less if you spend say $200 or $101, then so Amex will pick up that you've gone to their partner restaurant, and they'll credit you the $100. So that happens once every 6 months. It's not going to roll over. So if you don't use the $100 credit, then it's, that is lost, but it's worth knowing that that does exist. Now, the rewards for spending, as I previously said, it's 2 membership rewards for every dollar spent, and you can use those accordingly. 2 other benefits here is the free international and domestic travel insurance. So what happens here is that if you put the cost of your trip on your card, if you pay for it, then what you'll do is that will activate travel insurance for you and your family, who travel with you. And basically there are some exceptions to that, of course. Older people will be excluded, pre-existing conditions. So we'd have linked out to the policy, which you can read in great detail here. It's about 28 pages, but that is the full policy for the gold card. And what's worth noting is that you'll still have to pay excesses should anything actually go wrong and you need to make a claim, and they will vary. So they will range from $100 to $250. The coverage limits are quite extensive. So it's around 2.5 million for medical emergencies, trip cancellation, 30,000, lost baggage or documents around 30,000. Finally, one of the benefits of Amex is the chargeback process. So should you have any problems, fraudulent problems, or just a dispute with the merchant, then Amex is someone that you deal with directly. It's not like a bank who has Visa or MasterCard where, you'll raise something with the bank, they'll raise it with MasterCard, they go back to the bank, it goes back to you. It's kind of annoying. With Amex, it's a direct relationship. So that's just worth noting should you be concerned about security or, any kind of chargeback situation. Now, pros and cons. What I want to explain here is that, there are some pros, but also it's really worth noting that this card isn't going to be for everyone. And so please don't rush into thinking, oh, well, I'm going to get $200 and all this free stuff, because, some cards are just not suitable for people. Let me just go through it anyway. So if you spend around $18,000 a year on a card, that's going to earn you about 200 air points dollars, which would arguably pay for the that would pay for the annual fee of the card anyway. So this is just, some sort of back of the envelope calculations, but they're designed to really help you understand exactly how much you need to spend to be able to kind of justify having the card in the first place. The bonus offer, of the $200 statement credit, that's a one-off, but we certainly see that as a pro. We also see the dining credits as quite valuable, especially when you can integrate them into First Table. And so if you are going to go out to a restaurant with a First Table, you can see the link there that'll explain. If you don't know what First Table is, then you can save some considerable amount of money beyond even the $100 thanks to the First Table offer. So please have a look at that if that's interesting for you. Customer service have very strong reviews. People seem to be very happy with them. Of course, that's anecdotal, and we haven't got any actual number evidence on that, but we do hear good things, and that's why we've listed that. And it's similar with the customer disputes terms. Basically, if there is a problem, then you just have that direct contact with Amex, who will resolve your issues. Finally, the acceptance issue. So I probably left this to last for no reason other than just to say there have been issues in the past with Amex not being accepted around New Zealand. They are working very hard to make it, relevant and make it usable by their cardholders, both, of course, locally and internationally. The issue is that some small independent shops won't take an Amex. This could be cafes, this could be, some boutique shops. So be aware that while the likes of Countdown, New World, Pack and Save, the petrol stations and the big retailers will accept it, generally there are limitations on who will. So that's why it's quite common for Amex people to have a backup card. That's usually a debit card or an FBOS card from their bank. Now, cons. So as I previously just said, there some merchants won't accept Amex, and you've also got the card itself, which is metal, which of course is a design point and a sort of a unique selling point of the card. I would say that it's actually quite heavy, but of course that's my personal view, and I'm just kind of stating that maybe not everyone wants a heavy card. Finally, the foreign exchange conversion fee. So most credit cards now are around sort of 1.85. Some are as lower. Some can be as low about 1.3%. Some are higher, around 2.5, and in some cases it's sort of heading north to 3%. So Amex is 2.5%. So that is a little bit higher than what we'd obviously like, or is kind of the average in the market. But it's worth knowing that that only applies, of course, if you spend non-New Zealand dollars. So if you're spending overseas a lot, then it may be more expensive, and the rewards actually aren't that lucrative because you're overpaying for the FX fee. But that's just something to be aware of, so that you can make an informed choice around whether or not the card's going to work for you with that fee. Now, how does the card actually work? Well, somebody managed to break it down on Reddit New Zealand in June of 2022, and nothing's really changed in terms of the overall behavior of the card. So this person said the annual card fee of $200, that's fine for them because they actually spend the $100 on the restaurants that qualify. So that kind of that would offset the card fee every year as long as they keep going to those restaurants. And what they've done is they've put their general house expenses onto the Amex card. So that's HelloFresh, in this case, pet food orders, New World, Bunnings, McDonald's, all that sort of stuff. So, and this person is saying that in Wellington, there's lots of acceptance, but that's of course not always the case. So please don't sort of read into that as a catch-all. And then at the time, this person would have taken advantage of a $300 cashback offer. That is now currently 200. Of course, that will change from time to time, and so that's obviously quite beneficial for a first year benefit. And then finally, this person's been is saying that it's got generally quite strong acceptance, and the experience has been pretty decent. So we've published this to really just show one example of how the card actually behaves. And for most people, it will be quite obvious that it's a credit card that is just earning these reward points and charging an annual fee. But it is not a standard card that you'd see like offered by a bank, which is why we just wanted to sort of include more texture around some of the real life experiences with it. So finally, we think there's a lot to like about the card. Certainly not a recommendation. It's just an observation, especially now, with the period of very low rewards from the banks. Now that the Visa and MasterCard interchange fees are actually at all-time lows because of government regulation, this has meant that Amex is far more beneficial for people to go on for reward cards, just because they have direct relationships with the merchants. They're not underpinned by any government legislation, and so they can just offer what they think is best for their members and also for their merchants. So lastly, what cards kind of compete with the gold card? There's not very many. We've listed the American Express Platinum Charge Card. That is an expensive annual fee. It also earns membership reward points, but probably you're likely to see an Airpoints Platinum card compete. Of course, there is one offered by Amex, and we've got more links in the guide below. But yeah, that really just comes down to what you're actually looking for is going to be the most relevant card for you, not so much which cards actually compete in the space, because you really need to be looking for a card which is meeting your needs and actually rewards you for what your spending behavior is. So thanks very much for watching, and if you have any questions, please do leave them in the comments below, because we're very responsive to those and we look forward to improving our resources. Thank you very much.